All right, Paul Stone's with us, a man who I'm sure has autographed many, many things because he is a celebrity. So Paul, last time we talked to you, I made the allegation that you were a fisher. Right before you walked in, I said you were a man that loves to dance. Am I right about that?
No.
Oh, man. Then I'm upset.
Back when I was in high school, I might dance at the prom or at a reception, but no, nobody wants to see that.
Well, I'm willing to bet your fingers were dancing across the screen of your phone as you were betting some of these games today. So let's talk about some of the matches that we've seen, and we'll get to some of the games that you have bet as well. But before, we have you here. We got Pam here. Get your thoughts. We were talking about the look ahead for Texas and Baylor. So the look ahead was 8. Texas then opens up. We saw double digits. I think we saw, 14, Pam?
14.
Where'd you make that number for this matchup with Baylor, and how do you factor in what was clearly a look-ahead spot against Wyoming that got a little dicey, but they ultimately pulled out?
Yeah, I made it 13.5,
Okay.
and it opened here at Circa. I think at either 13 or 13.5, so it was pretty much where I thought it would be. I don't put a whole lot of stock into Texas's performance against Wyoming. Certainly brings more reason for pause than optimism, but that's just a natural spot for a letdown. I think they'll put their foot back on the gas against Baylor. Baylor's a team whose quarterback, Blake Shapen, is going to be out again this week. They have very little offense. They're going to have a lot of difficulty, I believe, scored on the Longhorns, but I think the number's right where it is. This was not one of the games I did bet 21 games so far, but that was not one of them.
Was Colorado potentially one of them? JVT and I are on opposite ends when it comes to the Buffaloes. I like to back, he likes to fade, but I was more so interested in this total. It opened 70.5, ticked up to 72.5. Do you have an opinion on either the side or total for Colorado on the road as 20-point underdogs to Oregon?
So it opened at 70.5. Okay, I tapped that total in over. And, these lines move very aggressively.
Yeah.
The people betting them are mainly sharps, I would say, and especially the totals are very price sensitive. I know I tapped it in for the over, and it offered me 4 points different. So it had moved 4 points in just a matter of seconds. So I passed on that. But, Colorado, Travis Hunter, first of all, their two-way star is going to be out for a few weeks.
Yep.
So that's a significant loss from a personnel standpoint for Colorado. Oregon, if you guys remember earlier this summer, Dan Lanning made the comment, what have they won? What has Colorado won? He's a little bit taken aback by all the publicity that Coach Prime and company have received. So Oregon might keep their foot on the gas a little bit here, but that is a game as well that I didn't take side or total.
Yeah, 66.5 to 72.5 is the move that we have on our screen here, too. So opened up pretty low and then got up to their 72. All right, so you mentioned some of them. What was at the top of the list? What was one of the first ones that stuck out to you that you bet?
I bet Utah under 54.5, UCLA and Utah under 54.5. I just wonder about Cam Rising, the quarterback for Utah, whether or not he's going to play not only in this game or if he's going to play at some point before midseason. And the longer this thing goes, you just have to worry about how his rehabilitation is going, where his mindset is with a potential NFL career and so forth. And Utah still plays that great defense. To win the game, they're going to have to try to shorten the game, make it compact. I like that under 54.5. I also played another side that I liked was South Carolina -4 over Mississippi State.
Oh, great minds, Paul. Great minds.
South Carolina, I just think they're a superior team. Mississippi State, they've not only got the head coaching change, obviously, but their new offensive coordinator is doing a pretty dramatic shift offensively to a more run-oriented offense. And I just don't think it's, taken hold or clicked to this point. So I like the Gamecocks, who played obviously very well against Georgia, to defeat Mississippi State by more than 4 there. Just looking down the list here, I took UTEP at home in El Paso plus 3.5 over UNLV. I had UTEP rated as a small favorite in that game. Just seemed a little bit off that UNLV, even though UTEP's not a world beater, that UNLV would be favored on the road against a Conference USA team. Took Tennessee -15 over Texas San Antonio. An injury situation here as well with UTSA quarterback Frank Harris missing the game against Army on Friday night. You have to wonder if he'll be ready to go here. And Tennessee coming off the loss, this might be a game where they might try to get well and might try to put the foot on the gas a little bit. So took the Vols -15.
Yep. Yeah, it makes sense. You and I were talking about that going back to UNLV UTEP. We had our games that we were looking for and saying, okay, I can't wait to see what the line's going to be because I had UNLV circled. I was expecting maybe a small underdog price to back UNLV, and especially like I've made the case. So Jaden Mayava's probably going to start for them. They're back a quarterback redshirt freshman. I actually think he's pretty good. I've gotten to go to practice. He's really solid. But we saw 6 initially for UNLV on the road. UTEP's bad, and it's looked really poor. Not that bad. So that's been pretty shocking up to this point. All right, let's talk to you about some of the big games on the board here. Let's go to Ohio State, Notre Dame. What are your thoughts? Because I'm on the side, Paul. Like 3 weeks ago, before the season began, 4 weeks ago, we had these look-ahead lines. We were talking about 7.5 in favor of Ohio State. Now we're sitting at 3. I think I'm willing to wade into the waters and lay that with Ohio State. I don't think we've seen from Notre Dame. We've seen good things, but it's against much inferior competition. I'm in to get a discount on the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I'll say, first of all, I think DraftKings earlier today maybe opened Ohio State at 1, and then Circa comes in and opens Ohio State at 3. I don't think it's going to get any higher than 3, so I would recommend, and I could be wrong because this happened before on many occasions, but I don't think the Buckeyes are going to get any higher than 3.
Yep.
So if you like the Buckeyes, I would probably, just stay still and wait for the move down. I actually got a ticket maybe back in February or March. I've got Notre Dame +9 in pocket, so I'll probably come back on the other side. But it's just really an intriguing game. Notre Dame obviously much improved at quarterback with Sam Hartman, but the quality of opponent can certainly be scrutinized for the Fighting Irish. Ohio State, they have not clicked, quite frankly, on all cylinders with their new quarterback. There's certainly a drop-off there. Now they're going on the road, playing at Notre Dame Stadium. Going to be a great environment, so just a super game to watch there. But no real strong opinion at this point on that game.
What about Oregon State -2 opened on the road to Washington, now ticked up to 2.5, but you have DJU, the quarterback for Oregon State, coming off 2 interceptions against San Diego State. Do you have any opinion on that, or do you see a potential move in the market?
I made it, and I'm sorry, I was looking through my notes here. I made Oregon State 2.5 and 54.5 at Washington State. And as you mentioned, DJU now going on the road and playing they played earlier at San Jose State, but Washington State has been a pretty solid surprise.
A little different environment playing at San Jose State.
Playing in Pullman there on the Palouse. It's going to be a little bit different. To me, you got Clemson, Florida State. Obviously, you've got Ohio State at Notre Dame. But this is as intriguing of a game on the card, in my opinion, as there is. Really looking forward to it. If it goes to 3, I would kind of wait. If it goes to 3, I would be inclined to take Washington State. I think at a field goal or better, I think they might be the play. Love playing those home dogs in conference games.
All right, well, then let's talk about a home dog in conference. They are 1.5 point underdogs, Clemson. What do you make of this matchup with Florida State?
Yeah, it's a tough, I say they're all tough, but they really are. Florida State, to me, they were one of the top 3 teams in the nation until yesterday.
Yep.
And again, everybody's going to need a mulligan in college football. Nobody's going to be on their A game for 12 games through the regular season. Everybody's going to exhale at some point, and that's what Florida State did yesterday. And the quarterback for Boston College, Castellanos, was very impressive. I just think Florida State's got a better roster. I have not played this game yet, but I think Florida State's the better team. They're better at quarterback. Travis came back from that little injury that he had, the quarterback from Florida State. So, Florida State might be the play. I think that game maybe went down to pick, and I might be wrong.
So we saw Circa open pick. Other spots were at 2.5.
Open pick and went down now 1. Okay, right. So I think it's about where it should be, but I think Florida State got a good chance to go into Death Valley and pull out the victory.
We were talking about this, too. Some of the Florida State folks mentioned that after the game, allegedly the flu was going through the locker room for the Seminoles yesterday, or throughout the week. So maybe it has something to do with what happened with Boston College. All right, Paul, we appreciate it as always. What's the rest of your week look like? What are you doing, huh?
Well, I'm going to go bet some more.
There we go.
I've got 21 bets, and I've got a few here that I'm going to. I wasn't going to stand you guys up because I had an appointment, but sometimes I look at it and I only bet 12 or 13 games, but bet 21 so far, and I'll probably take a few more. Just like the card, and my numbers, give me some opportunities there. So I'm going to do that. Then I'll, at some point, I'll probably get some lunch. Then I'll go back to my hotel and just start hammering away for week 4.
I like it. Yep, week 4. It's already begun, man. Come on. I know it's a football Sunday for the NFL, but we're on week 4 in college football. Paul, we appreciate it as always.